I want to take you to the question that got me very intrigued with you in the first place. Because just now you were talking about like handling, difficult customers and all that. That must be so difficult for an introvert.
Mm.
Um, that's, something I would say that you probably didn't think about, because for the very first thing that you should be thinking about, maybe as an introvert, is how do I even get myself on stage,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Like how, because I think you mentioned about how shy you were as a child, but you love singing so much.
Yeah. Maybe I mean, I mentioned that my dad is a singer,
Mm,
so as in he loves to sing. He's a very good singer,
mm.
um, and he used to sing me songs every night before I sleep.
Oh,
Yeah, when I was younger. So and then growing up, I remember my household. There's always constantly a lot of music playing, like a lot of cassette tapes. My mom was a big fan of Feng Fei Fei, so
oh.
constantly I would hear her songs. I would see Feng Fei Fei's face on the TV. My sister loves music as well. She had this
Mm,
whole collection of music,
mm,
and this uh, thick book of lyrics
mm,
that she
mm,
wrote herself. So it's
mm,
all this influence. And primary school, I was in choir. I joined
mm,
choir.
mm,
I did performances.
mm,
And then after that, when I went to secondary school, but I remember like I was a victim of like like people bully me. I didn't really know how to. So, but I didn't know how to tell anybody, even my family.
Okay.
I didn't tell. So I think I had a problem with expressing myself.
Mm,
Yeah, when I was young. So I guess by singing is my way of
mm,
expressing.
mm,
Yeah, that's why I love singing and I love music so much. Um, and then my clique of friends were not huge also. And then moving on to secondary school, there was a period of time I was ostracized for some reason. Girls' school again. So
When you say you had issues expressing yourselves, what do you mean by that? As in, like, you couldn't, mm, when the teacher asked you, to answer a question,
I was very afraid of being called.
okay.
Yeah, so I'll just like look down, don't call me, don't call me. Call me. I can tell you now, if you ask any of the teachers, right, they hardly remember me. I don't
Mm,
think any one of
you
them
did make
remember
an
me.
impression.
Yes, no, I didn't make an impression.
It's the quiet girl over there
Yeah, and I
who is
was
now a singer.
exactly. So a lot of my close friends until today, they'll tell me like, I cannot believe that you're a singer. Like if you tell them back in school, who would believe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So um, I guess I get affected very easily by what people
Mm,
say,
mm,
and but I will just bottle it up,
mm, mm, mm,
and
mm.
and then I'll become very grumpy and
Yeah,
angry.
marinate inside, right?
Yes, yes. But like when people ask me that I don't want to say it out. I
Uh,
just don't know why. Was
oh.
it because I was afraid of making people angry,
Mm,
or I was afraid of conflict? I'm also
mm,
not sure.
mm,
You know, so that was me.
mm,
So very easily irritated.
mm,
Mm,
mm.
yeah. Um, and I like last time if you ask me to just strike up a chat with random strangers, I can never do that. I like
Mm.
in poly, in secondary school, I had problem the moment that we have to do presentation.
Oh,
Wow, then I'll start to like freak out already.
actually, we are really similar. I feel like you're telling my life story.
That's how you can hit it out, is it?
And then what happened during presentations?
So just have to very nervous. I used to get like stomach ache.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, when I was nervous, yeah. Then I have to do a lot of prep work. Lor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and cue cards and everything. And I remember in the beginning when I was doing presentation, I would like tremble also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't really know where to look.
Mm, mm,
Um, yeah, so it was just a blur during presentation.
mm, mm.
Mm.
So what made you, I mean, with this kind of personality, right? How do you even put yourself on stage?
Yeah, it's very weird, right? it's very weird. So but like I said, I enjoy singing, right? But putting myself on stage is another thing.
Exactly.
So I think the changing point was after secondary school, I went to poly. So during the poly open house, right? I remember all of us, not open house, orientation, sorry. So orientation, all of us new students, we attended orientation. It was at the huge auditorium, which there was some speeches and there was performances as well. So I told myself, I say, how I wish that I can perform here during the next orientation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I really did.
Because you joined the club.
No, I took part in a singing competition.
What does
Okay, so when I went to after secondary school, right? After secondary school and poly, during that few years, that period, for some reason I went berserk. I went around taking part in competition
Oh.
in like whatever, like organized by CC or community club and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah, I was still not comfortable on stage.
It's
But
interesting, isn't it? Like,
yes,
there's so much fear, but you still want to do it.
yes, it's like I just enjoy singing. It's like why not? So I went around taking part lor, and I was if you see me on stage singing, it's like cannot lie. It's like you can tell, oh, she's very nervous kind. Yeah, but somehow
Did you win anything actually?
those that I took part outside, no.
That's the funny thing, right?
Yeah.
Yet you became professional.
Yeah, it's very funny. So I took part in because I was studying marketing in
Okay.
poly. So during the first year, the School of Business organized this singing competition. My friend was like, "Hey, try lah, please just try." Initially, I didn't want to. They said, "Just try lah." Okay, so they fill the form out for me. So I
Okay.
went on and then I took part, and I got third.
Oh, not bad.
I think I got third, and I was singing Ame's song. Okay,
Wow.
I was singing Ame's "Hi Hi Hi" song. Like you need this dance and everything. I don't know what was wrong with me. But anyway, yeah. So I did that, and I came in third. So for them, it's like I think the top three they get to perform during orientation, for the following year.
I see.
So I really did perform, and it was at that moment I was like, it felt so good, and I realized that actually dreams do come true if you really work towards it.
Yeah, you must take active steps.
Exactly.
Even though you may be scared inside lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that kind of gave me more confidence, and it was after that, after my poly, I took part in a singing competition organized by Mu Chuan. It was for public. Yeah, so I took part. I got into the finals. I didn't win, but they wrote all the finalists into the cafe to sing.
This is exactly my life story too.
It's
I didn't win too.
Oh, you took part in the competition? Also?
Which year was it? Oh my god, wait.
I think
Was it the year that Wang Fuhua was?
2002.
I think you are of a younger batch than me.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure. We're different. I'm older than you. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
mine
yeah.
was 2002.
So that's how they sort of recruit the good singers into the cafe to
Yes.
sing part time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was how it started. Yeah.
Okay. And then you realize that when you actually perform in a cafe, it's not just singing, right? Okay, so we're back, but this time on Zoom. I have to say that this interview really, takes so much effort to manifest into the real world, because it's actually our third time meeting for this.
Yes.
Yeah, so we actually couldn't finish doing it face to face for 2 times because of technical glitches and whatever that is. Yeah, so thank you, Phoebe, for taking your time again to meet
No
me.
problem.
I think, it shows how persistent we are to really want to bring our messages to everybody, and we stopped at a very interesting point where, so we went into Muchuan, right? And then that's when we realized that it's not just about performing. There's also the audience interaction part that we were ill prepared to take on as a very new singer. So do you
Mm.
have anything to talk about that?
We really need to um, be more hardworking and really go and brush up on all the more songs, adding
Mm,
more songs into our repertoire. Because
mm,
at that time at that cafe, you also know that the influx of requests is really a lot one.
mm. Yeah,
Yeah, right. So people really, because they don't sell alcohol there, people don't go there to drink. They really just go there and listen to the band.
that's so true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the beginning. Then after that, I also got some tips from seniors, mentors. Yu Xuan was the one who told me, say that, you know, you don't dare to look customers straight in the eye and look at their eyebrow. Nobody will know that you're looking at their eyebrow. But at least it looks like you are really like looking at them. It will make you appear more confident. Yeah.
I'm looking at your eyebrows now.
Yeah. See, I can't tell. Right? Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so it was that. Then after that, I think it took years of singing and performing on stage to really build up the layers of skin on your
Mm,
face to
mm,
make
mm,
it thicker
mm,
and thicker.
mm,
And ultimately, you learn not to take yourself too seriously and
mm,
learn not to be embarrassed anymore, how to throw back
mm.
questions at customers without sounding rude and everything, I guess. Yeah, so I'm very thankful for all those years at the cafe. Honestly, I'm sure you are too, right?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it was like a kindergarten for us, but it's
Mm.
fundamental. You know,
Yes.
yeah, I didn't mean to say it's not important. It's actually fundamental in that sense, because that's when we built our confidence, our interaction skills, our repertoire, and then that's how we could actually fly off to higher grounds from there on.